Hey y'all, welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about taking time off and time away from the farm and how we built that into Wild East's business plan, really from the start. I'm in Nature's Valley, South Africa, taking a few days after the course to have a bit of a rest and let things settle in a bit. I've also been gone from the farm in general since December 30th and had a really wonderful 2 weeks in Colorado, which is where I was born, and still have some family friends and a lot of memories there. So it had been quite some years since I had been and was able to visit with folks and see some of my favorite places and explore some new places as well. So that's to say I've had a full month off of the farm, and it's quite a bit of time. You know, I haven't taken any kind of trip like this since I was a teenager and have been very narrowly focused on learning and designing and ultimately creating Wild East Farm over the last 6 years. And it's time to kind of have a reset. So everyone on the farm was very supportive of me taking this time and transitioning into a new stage with a bit less urgency surrounding it, and transitioning from that bubbly dreaming and establishing state where there's so much energy and you could say a need to push the limits to make something like this happen. But we've been fortunate enough to become established quickly and can now be in a more steady state of growing the business and making sure we have time to do things off the farm. And that's been part of the plan from the beginning. We knew going into it that the first couple of years was going to take a lot for us to go from no business in the community and nothing really established around the landscape to be farming in the way that we do, to having the business in the state that it is now. But we knew that we wanted to organize things such that we could take adequate rest at different points in the season. Now, a lot of folks starting out farming don't even plan into the business the factor of paying themselves, much less planning in time off. But I think that for the longevity of any business owner, not only do we have to pay ourselves, but we have to be able to step away and take some rest. And I don't really think that can be accomplished without planning for it. The way that's looked for us has included really seeking to find employees and people who work with us that we can trust a great amount in order to be able to step away physically and know that things are being taken care of. Something we talked a lot about on the course is that it's pretty much always better to have, say, one really good rock star employee who's committed to the business and who's learning quick and willing to adapt and takes on a sense of ownership and responsibility than having, say, 3 or 4 just passive crew members who show up but maybe don't have that level of commitment. And so we're really focused and honed in on having a small team of people that we know we can develop trust with, because those are the people that can help make something like this possible. Another way that we plan downtime into the farm is by carefully creating our annual schedule with this rest time really as one of the key deciding factors in how we do things. We produce less than we probably could, but we feel okay about that because we're putting ourselves and our own well-being in time to go to the beach or to the mountains, or just to take some time staying at home and not working so hard as a major priority. So we take, for example, July each year with no chickens on the farm to give the chickens a break because it's so hot, but also to give ourselves a break from some of the daily chores, and we can really just focus on the things that we are doing during that time. And then winter naturally brings about a more restful season, with the weather being quite cold and unable to have the vegetables in full swing. We're able to sell frozen meat products all winter long, so there's still cash moving through the business, but we're not really oriented around trying to max out each month of the year so much as we are oriented around making the most out of the months that we are in full production, and then really taking time to rest and relax when we're not. So I recognize that I'm in a very fortunate position to own a farm and be a relatively young farm and take a month off just after season 2. And part of that is good fortune, but I don't think it'd be possible without planning and intention setting also. And that's what I wanted to talk about just a little bit today. And I hope that other folks can see that it's possible to not have to grind for 12 months of the year to make it work. So whenever I'm talking to other farmers who are expressing burnout and fatigue and a sense of being overworked, I always like to inquire about if they plan their schedule in a way that builds in downtime, just like everyone ought to build in a production plan that factors in paying themselves. It's easy to keep a farm kind of running year by year without doing those things, but it's not a real solution to making a farm actually work if it feels like it's not paying you and not giving you the quality of life that you're desiring. So there has to be a bit of a redefinition of what making it work actually means. Does that mean that we're not going into more debt, or does that mean that we're breaking even each year? Does that mean that everything you're doing is just paying for itself, or does it mean that we're striving for a really high quality of life where we can really step out of the ordinary work paradigm of the 9 to 5 and figure out a schedule that works for us? And that, again, can't exist without planning it and without thinking about it ahead of time. I like to picture a world where small farmers are not just getting by, but thriving and able to treat themselves and their families in the way that they really want to. And it's this balance of being extremely diligent and hardworking in the in the places that matter the most, which often isn't grinding super hard physically. It's a lot more about diligent spreadsheets and back-end work and fine-tuning the things so that maybe the enterprises that you're already running can operate better and pay you better without necessarily increasing production. And then balancing that diligence and effort with the really immersive downtime. And I don't think that they can really exist without the other. We can't really take that time and have it built in unless we're being very intelligent and committed to precision in our farm planning and our day-to-day decision making. So I'm grateful that we've been successful at that. Part of our fortunate position as well is that Lyric and I came into farming with a very keen entrepreneurial spirit and a very good sense of how to run and operate a functional business. And it's said so commonly that it's almost a trope at this point, but a farm is a business and it needs to be treated like that. And so often folks get into it because of the dreams and the fantasy of living with the land and growing your own food and being in a rural setting, and all of those things are beautiful products of having a farm in most cases, but it's not the whole picture. And it's equally as important, if not more important, to take the business element extremely seriously so that we're not feeling like we're just treading water or keeping our heads above water the whole time. So today is my last day of the trip, like I said, and it's been a lovely time. I'm feeling ready to get back to the farm and energized going into this season. As soon as we get back, it's getting the brooder ready, getting pigs on the farm, planting a bunch of seedlings, and February marks the turn of energy from the dormant time into really thinking about this next year. So this trip has been very rejuvenating and energizing. I'm extremely grateful to the folks who have been living and working at the farm in my absence to keep things operating smoothly. I couldn't imagine doing any of this without them. And yeah, I hope these thoughts can help folks either already in farming or thinking about getting into it really think about how to plan time to yourself and time to explore and time to engage with other people into the business plan. Because things have a tendency of just not happening if we don't plan for them. So I'm grateful to share, and I hope you've enjoyed listening and hope you can find that time for yourself sometime this year.